All right, so the first episode of Fallout is under my belt now, and I gotta say it hit all the right spots. It just had a rhythm to it that I am really glad to say that it felt good. Like they hit their stride in episode one. And some shows it takes 2 or 3 episodes to get going, sometimes a little bit longer. Some shows don't get out of the gate. This one is firing on all cylinders. As someone who is I would say I'm a knowledgeable fan of the series in that I've played the first two games several times years ago. I played the third game a couple of times, and I've dabbled in 76. I'm not intimately familiar with everything in between, but I know enough about the world. And then there's the hardcore fans who know everything, and I've not heard complaints from anyone yet. It's just been rave reviews everywhere I've been looking, and I've been able to avoid all of the spoilers, which has been pretty awesome. So anyway, speaking of spoilers, I'm going to spoil everything from here on forward because that's just how I do things. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, pause, go away, come back. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere. I'm going to be doing one episode a day from here forward. I'm not binge watching it. I'm just including this as part of what I already do. So if you like that kind of stuff, cool. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You've had your warning. We're now moving into spoiler territory. Walton Goggins steals the show, which I knew going into this that he was going to be one of my favorite performers because I just love everything he does. I think the first thing I ever saw him in was Justified, and then when his turn in Sons of Anarchy was absolutely a blast. And I've talked about like the most recent Santa Claus movie he did with Mel Gibson. Like he's just a good actor. He does really cool stuff. And his role here as the ghoul is punctuated by him being the starting of the show as well. So he gets to be the bookends of this episode, in the sense that we see him at the beginning when he's with his daughter, and he's obviously kind of a disgraced actor, I think, at this point, and he's doing birthday venues, and the people are mocking him, but he's doing it for his kid. And then as they're at that birthday party, they're watching the city go up in nukes, and you're just like, oh. And then when you flash forward 219 years or whatever, and they resurrect him from a grave where he's been drip fed, and he's obviously been alive for a very long time now, and he does it for the love of the game, he says. And I just really like to see him on either side of the equation. Smack dab in the middle of this, you've got the story of Lucy, who is going to be our main protagonist um, from Vault 33, and Maximus, who is the Brotherhood of Steel recruit. Two very different people here, and um, in in the Lucy's case, Kyle MacLachlan, I wasn't sure if he was going to make it out of the first episode. Obviously, he gets captured, but um, he didn't get killed right away, which I was happy with. Uh, their story is interesting because it starts off all hunky dory. It's like perfect vault life, like you kind of would figure it would be. And she decides that she wants to get married, so she puts an application, and so they bring in people from another vault, to so she can get married off to someone that she's never met, and everything goes off like without a hitch. They think everything's good, and then if you're picking up on the visual cues, there's obviously something off because all of the people who came from Vault 32 have like scars like on their faces, and a couple of them are bald with scars on their head, and everyone seems kind of sus. And then the wedding night, the dude's all scarred up and marked, and you're just like, ooh, they're not who they say they are. And then it unfolds that they're raiders in disguise, and they proceed to basically massacre everybody in Vault 33 for their resources and steal the overseer and take him away for whatever reason we're not sure yet. And they're obviously cannibals because Lucy's brother, when he's running back down the tunnel to investigate, he's just, being curious. He finds someone from the other vault tied up to a chair with bits and pieces of their body missing, bits of their limbs missing. So obviously they've been eating on them as well. So these are raiders, very bad people. There's a conversation at the end where Lucy's dad has to choose between his people and his daughter, like these 5 or 6 survivors, and he chooses his daughter, and he acknowledges that he knows who the leader of this other group is. She's a very scary woman who seems to be in charge of these cutthroats. But that's all the only basically reference point is that her dad knows who she is, and that's about it. So, but she does make a comment on the way out that Lucy looks just like her mother, and then they're out, blow up everybody with a bomb. Some of them do get left, but the people who are left don't want to go look for Lucy's dad, and so Lucy makes the decision that I have to go out there and find him. And this is all laced with the dark humor that the Fallout franchise is known for. Like, there's a lot of references to, the fact that Lucy and everybody, as cousins, they all kind of fool around with each other. But actual safe sex needs to be reserved for between vaults so that you can avoid the inbred nature of things. So they're at least educated on that front. But it is punctuated with lots of that dark humor and obviously super violent in places. So it's to be expected. It's everything that I think people wanted Fallout to be. Now, on the other side of the equation, we have Maximus, who we see him as a Brotherhood of Steel recruit, and he's getting beat up by a bunch of other guys, and this really skinny person who appears to be his friend helps him up, and they kind of joke about it, and they go off, and then as they're training, here comes these big, Zeppelin-looking machines with the copters, and it's the Knights, and they're coming here to get the next recruits, the next squires, and one of his friends, the skinny friend who helped him, gets chosen, and he's just completely down on himself, and he's cleaning out the latrines, and he has this moment of pure rage where he just like rips the lid off of one of the latrine toilets and just throws himself down and just appears to go into deep thought. And then the next scene is like him waking up in the morning to this horrific screaming, and his friend is like horrifically screaming with his boot, like trying to take his boot off. And when they take the boot off, they see that there was a straight razor that got lodged that someone put in the boot, so that when he pulled his boot on, it sliced his Achilles tendon and sliced his leg all up when he put on his boot, which puts him out of the running to be one of the squires for this knight Titus. And quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload, or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. As he's running to rescue his friend, and he's down there on his hands and knees, and he's helping his friend take his boot off, here come these guys, the Brotherhood guys, and they haul him off, put a bag over his head, and they haul him off to this room, and he proceeds to get grilled by one of the major high-ups in the Brotherhood. And we are left wondering, did Maximus actually do this to his friend or not? There's no answer given here. You're left with the impression that he literally says, I didn't do it, but then he says, but I wanted it to happen. Is that wrong of me? And there's this whole discourse about violence and other stuff. And you realize that he's had such a horrible life that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get to where he wants to go. And I think he saw that as his last chance. And so you're left with this decision on your part as a viewer of, did he do it, or do you think he's innocent? Either way, he's kind of guilty, because he said even if he wasn't the one who did it, he's like, I wanted it to happen. So, this huge smile on his face as he's riding off into the sunset on this helo with the knight Titus, and you're just left wondering, did he do it? And if he did, would you do the same? Things to think about. And they all the Brotherhood appears to be after someone who is traveling the wasteland with a dog, and they have a pencil description of him. And of course, this is the character, I forget the actor's name, who played Benjamin Linus in Lost, and in Purse of Interest. Anyway, it's obviously his character who's on the run from the Enclave. So we've got some name drops. We've heard Brotherhood of Steel. We've heard Enclave. We've heard we now have the fact that there are different vaults in existence, and all of this is now out there with the ghouls and everything else. So we kind of have established in this first episode all of the lore that the Fallout fans of the franchise are going to know and love. But we've also established to first-time viewers, kind of the broad strokes. And from here, we can go into episode 2 and start to refine down on some of these things and discover more about the world that lies beyond the vault and how the storylines of Maximus, Lucy, and the ghoul are all going to combine, which essentially is the ghoul is going to be after the bounty for the guy that the Brotherhood are chasing. And we know that Lucy is going to meet up with him at some point, because we've seen that in the trailers where he meets her and he's like, "Oh my dear, like you don't know what you're up against. Like you don't know what the world is like out here." So really looking forward to seeing how this unfolds. For those of you who are binge watching, awesome. Love to hear your take on the first episode. I will be watching this daily, so expect daily updates from me over the next 8 days as we watch all of the episodes. Really good so far. Can't wait to see the whole thing. I'm excited. This looks like a lot of fun. First episode out of the gate, 10 out of 10. Really well done. So kudos, Amazon. I think this should be proof for people too that, I mean, The Boys as an example. I mean, Amazon makes some pretty good television from time to time, even if not all of them are bangers, Reacher, The Boys, Fallout. I think this bodes well for the Mass Effect series they bought the rights to a couple years back. All right. See you in the next one, everybody. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Stay safe. Happy watching.